New details on Jacob Fatu's injury status, with some reports suggesting he could be back in in-ring competition as soon as the end of the month. Randy Orton reportedly signs a brand new WWE contract. Dominic Mysterio narrowly escapes Rhea Ripley's Riptide on Monday Night Raw. The mixed tag team match involving Ripley, Dominic Mysterio, Liv Morgan and Damian Priest has now been confirmed for Bash in Berlin. Mark Henry makes his first WWE return after exiting AEW last night on Monday Night Raw. Dakota Kai, she reportedly has suffered a knee injury, will require surgery, and could be out of action for over 2 months. Bron Breakker retains the WWE Intercontinental Championship in the main event of Raw last night. Bronson Reed continues to attack, this time landing a series of tsunamis on R-Truth. Ivy Nile turns heel and joins American Made on Raw. Odyssey Jones makes his WWE Raw in-ring debut. He's going to team with the New Day next week. Bo Dallas reflects on the Wyatt Sicks in-ring debut last week. We got the ratings for Friday's edition of AEW Rampage, as well as WWE SmackDown. Plus, Tay Melo is set for an AEW in-ring return. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there are plenty of news stories to get into in the world of professional wrestling. Let's begin with the latest status of Jacob Fatu. Many people have been wondering, what is the injury status? What is the state of play when it comes to the Samoan Werewolf? And now finally, we may have some details, because at SummerSlam, the Samoan Werewolf Jacob Fatu nearly cost Cody Rhodes the undisputed WWE Championship when he hit the champion with a top rope splash through the announce table. He did not leave the encounter unscathed though, as he was seen clutching his leg after the spot, while WWE officials confirmed that the spot was planned to write Fatu out of the match. Worries of a legitimate injury solidified when Fatu was seen sporting a walking boot in the days following the event. PW Insider has recently issued a positive injury update on Fatu and has given a range for his expected return. According to the report, Fatu is expected to return to in-ring action by the end of August 2024. That's the end of this month. Now, the report did not disclose any specifics regarding Fatu's injury, including the type of injury and severity. There was reportedly talent within WWE who thought Fatu was legitimately injured during his SummerSlam spot, but an internal WWE source blew off the idea when asked. The report, combined with Fatu's absence from the most recent edition of SmackDown, may imply that he did have a legitimate injury, albeit a minor one. Fatu has not commented on his condition, and a definitive return date for the Samoan Werewolf remains unannounced. Ever since his debut on SmackDown, Fatu has been the most dangerous member of Sikoa's new bloodline. Fatu, who is one half of the WWE Tag Team Champions, has been vocal about his support for the new tribal chief. When he returns, fans can expect to see him at odds with Roman Reigns, who returned at SummerSlam with a vengeance against Sikoa. Interestingly, it had been reported that Fatu was written out of the SummerSlam match so he would avoid an encounter with the original tribal chief. Now, Randy Orton, new details when it comes to a brand new contract for the Viper, and WWE has made a big re-signing. Fightful Select spoke to sources within WWE that claimed that Randy Orton has re-signed with WWE. Orton had signed a 5-year contract in 2019 that kept him with the company until late this year. However, of course, Orton missed significant time with injury, and Fightful reported that the contract wasn't as clear-cut as it seemed. However, word internally is that he has a brand new deal. The word internally was that Orton agreed to a new 5-year contract that would have him under a deal until late 2029. Now, it's worth noting that Fightful reached out to both Randy Orton and WWE to confirm the news, but didn't get a direct confirmation. One higher up in WWE was asked why WWE would agree to a new deal instead of extending due to the injury time. And they said, quote, not confirming that he did sign a new deal, but the guaranteed money associated with contracts is a drastic shift from what it was in 2019. There have been changes to our live event schedule, touring, international dates, media obligations, merchandise, and social media that would be much more fair just to reach a new deal in many situations, end quote. Of course, Orton had publicly flirted with the idea of going to AEW in 2019, but Fightful have been told that nothing of the sort was discussed this go around. Now, again, since this article was actually published by Fightful, they've now confirmed the 5-year contract extension directly, and indeed, Orton has put pen to paper on a new deal with the company. Now, going to Raw last night, Dominic Mysterio narrowly avoided Rhea Ripley's Riptide in a dramatic opening of Raw. 1 week ago, it was Liv Morgan barely escaping what would have been a Rhea Ripley powerbomb through the announce table thanks to a late save from Dominic Mysterio. Last night on Raw, Morgan returned the favour, grabbing hold of Daddy Dom as Ripley had him locked in and hoisted up for the Riptide, pulling him safely to the ring apron, and the couple scurried away to safety. The exchange between Ripley, Morgan and Mysterio began last night as the Judgment Day's new power couple didn't answer Mami's challenge for them to come to the ring, but instead spoke to her from the safe distance of atop a section of stands at the concourse level of the Moody Center. But after a few barbs from Ripley about Mysterio's manhood, the latter's praise of Morgan for giving him all the nuggies he wants and letting him play video games, and Morgan defending her new man's honor as best as she could as the crowd chanted sloppy seconds, former WWE World Heavyweight Champion Damian Priest appeared behind Morgan and Mysterio, and the brawl was on. Priest battled Mysterio through the concourse, and Ripley chased down Morgan before the melee led to a match between Priest and Carlito. After Priest put Carlito away and plenty of interference from all of the new incarnation of the Judgment Day, Mysterio came off the top ropes and nearly hit Ripley and or Priest as the Terror Twins embraced in the middle of the ring. But Priest caught him by the throat and turned him over to Ripley, who nearly put her former beau through the mat before Morgan was able to make the save. Now, of course, this has led to a match that had been widely reported and speculated. It's now confirmed this big mixed tag team match will be taking place at Bash in Berlin. The newly babyface duo, informally known as the Terror Twins, that being Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest, will finally get their chance to officially get their hands on the people who cost them world championships at SummerSlam, that being Liv Morgan and Dominic Mysterio. After tensions between the four former members of the Judgment Day came to a head at Monday's edition of Raw, a mixed tag team match was officially announced for the Bash in Berlin Premium Live event on Saturday, August 31st. The news comes just 2 days after Corey Hayes of Pro Wrestling Nexus reported over the weekend that the match had been added to the PLE card. So that match is now official for the upcoming PLE. Mark Henry has appeared on WWE television for the first time since his exit from All Elite Wrestling. WWE Hall of Famer Mark Henry and his son Jacob, who recently announced his signing with the company, appeared in the crowd during Raw on Monday, which was live from the Moody Center in Austin, Texas. Jacob announced he had been signed by WWE on August 2nd during his father's DJ sets at the Remix Rumble event in Cleveland, Ohio over SummerSlam weekend. The younger Henry is a collegiate wrestler at the University of Oklahoma. He signed with the wrestling team at the beginning of 2024. He has also played football and been involved in track and field at the university as well. Mark Henry previously stated years prior that his son was determined to play in the NFL. Jacob showcased his strength as the son of the world's strongest man when he posted a video of himself squatting 610 pounds on social media. Henry recently departed from AEW, where he worked as a scout, announcer, and coach. Henry chose not to renew his contract when it ended in May. He previously stated on Busted Open Radio that he was proud of what he accomplished alongside AEW President Tony Khan. At the time, Henry said he was taking more time to handle his website and brands. The WWE Hall of Famer said there was no bad blood between himself and AEW, and it was a mutual decision. Henry retired from in-ring competition following WrestleMania 33 and became a backstage producer advisor in WWE at the time. He was inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2018. He made his final WWE appearance before leaving for AEW in January of 2021 during a Raw Legends Night special. Now, a bit of an update here when it comes to Dakota Kai and her injury status. We spoke about Jacob Fatu earlier on. We've got an update when it comes to the Damage Control member here. Dakota Kai is unfortunately no stranger to knee surgery in her career, and it appears she's headed for another one, as per Raw commentary. Kai, who was attacked last week by Shayna Baszler, Sonya Deville and Zoe Stark, a group now known as the Pure Fusion Collective, needs surgery for a torn meniscus in her right knee and is expected to be out of action for 8 to 10 weeks. It's unclear when the injury actually took place, but Kai hasn't wrestled a match since July 27th at the WWE Super Show live event in Tokyo, Japan, where she and Io Sky defeated former Women's Tag Team Champions Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill. She was slated to take on Deville on last week's Raw, having laid down the challenge the week prior, but was seemingly written out of that match via a backstage attack and replaced by her Damage Control ally Sky, who emerged victorious. On Monday's episode, Kai was nowhere to be found, while Sky and Kairi Sane competed against Baszler and Stark in a number 1 contenders match for the Unholy Union Women's Tag Team titles, a match that ended in a no contest when the champions attacked both sides. Kai suffered a torn ACL in the same knee last year and only returned to action back in February. Damage Control has been plagued by knee problems in 2024, with Asuka still recovering from her own injury, with no timeline for her return having been announced. Now, Bron Breakker is still the Intercontinental Champion, retaining his title last night on Monday Night Raw. Bron Breakker retained his title over Sami Zayn in a SummerSlam rematch with a 2 out of 3 fall stipulation on Monday's episode of Raw. Breakker won the title from Zayn at the biggest party of the summer in Cleveland, Ohio, in a short match after the two initially faced off in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, with Zayn getting the victory at Money in the Bank. In the end, it was Breakker to score 2 falls over Zayn's 1 on Monday night. Breakker was able to counter a Blue Thunder Bomb towards the beginning of the match, but Zayn hit a Helluva Kick and earned the first fall. Breakker and Zayn fought outside of the ring, and Zayn attempted to hit a moonsault off the barricade, but was caught by the champion and thrown into the timekeeper's area. Back inside the ring, Breakker hit a Frankensteiner, but Zayn kicked out. Breakker followed it up with 2 spears to earn the first fall. The champion bounced Zayn off the announce desk and jumped from the ring apron and drove Zayn into the desk with a clothesline. Zayn almost didn't make the referee's count of 10, but got back into the ring at the last possible second. The challenger battled back and hit a sunset flip powerbomb, but Breakker kicked out. Zayn looked for the exploder suplex in the corner, but Breakker hit a counter and went for a spear, which Zayn dodged. Zayn caught Breakker, attempted to run the ropes with a Helluva Kick, but Breakker kicked out. Zayn went to the top rope, but was caught mid-arm with a spear from Breakker. The champion covered Zayn for the 3 count and retained his Intercontinental Championship in the process. Now, Bron Breakker, of course, he's been causing havoc on Raw, but so has Bronson Reed, particularly last week with his vicious attack on Seth Rollins. And this week, he claimed another victim. In an effort to elevate his friend and tag team partner back into the limelight, R-Truth arranged for The Miz to take on an ambiguous Braun in the second half of Monday's edition of Raw. Unfortunately, Truth miscalculated, and instead of landing Miz an Intercontinental Championship opportunity with Bron Breakker, The Miz found himself at odds with big Bronson Reed. Truth ultimately paid for his mistake in blood, as he became the second victim of Reed's tsunami-heavy tirades onto Raw's locker room. The Miz actually put in a good showing against Reed. The Miz countered Reed's hard-hitting offense with veteran knowledge and superior agility, and at one point managed to land his signature kicks into Reed's chest. However, Reed answered with a Death Valley driver, then sealed The Miz's fate with a tsunami for the victory. After the bell rang, Reed ascended to the top rope and sought to land another tsunami onto The Miz. Truth intercepted him, however, and ultimately took 6 tsunamis on The Miz's behalf. The segment ended with Adam Pearce berating Reed, and a suspension was mentioned. As of this recording, no disciplinary measures in regards to this week's events have been officially announced. Truth, of course, is now the second victim of Reed's tsunami barrage, with the first being former World Heavyweight Champion Seth Rollins. On the August 5th edition of Raw, Rollins had to be escorted out of the ring with blood dripping from his mouth after Reed's series of tsunamis caused internal bleeding to the former champion. Rollins is now out of action for an indefinite period of time. It's been reported that he's been given time off to heal up from chronic health issues. There's currently no word on Truth's condition or whether he will be similarly shelved for now. Now, Ivy Nile, she turned heel and once again aligned with the Creed brothers last night on Monday Night Raw. Once a part of the Diamond Mine faction in NXT and for a short while on Raw after the group's initial call-up, Ivy Nile hasn't been consistently shown alongside Brutus and Julius Creed in some time. Last night on Raw, it was made clear that Nile was still a part of what she dubbed our group in a backstage segment with Maxine Dupree, and the trio officially reunited, all at the expense of Dupree, who Nile assaulted before celebrating with the group, now known as American Made. Prior to a Texas Tornado match between Alpha Academy and the Creed brothers representing American Made, Nile approached Dupree and encouraged her to stay away from the match and let her talk to Chad Gable to see about rekindling that relationship. But Dupree said she was staying with her family, and Nile responded by saying, "I thought you would say that." With Gable explained still to be on his way back from the Olympics in France, the Creeds would go out as a pair against Otis and Akira Tozawa, with Dupree watching on from ringside. Late in the match, with things seemingly turning in the favour of Alpha Academy, after some high-flying action from Tozawa, Nile attacked Dupree as she stood near the apron, ultimately slamming her face first into the announce table. She would then hoist her up and lock in a dragon sleeper while taunting a concerned Otis, causing enough of a distraction for the Creed brothers to secure the win for the Gable-led American-Made faction. Now, Odyssey Jones, of course, he made a huge splash last week on Raw, aligning himself with the New Day. This week, he made his Raw in-ring debut. After being twice drafted to the main roster, Odyssey Jones shocked the wrestling world with his explosive debut on the August 5th episode of Raw. Monday night, Jones kept up his momentum and came out of his Red Brand in-ring debut with a victory to his name and a six-man tag team match to look forward to. Jones took on the Performance Center's own Vincent Winey, best known for his football career as a linebacker for Morehead State University. Winey got some early offense in when he launched himself at the 6'5" Jones, only to be tossed across the ring by Jones in response. Jones dominated the match afterwards and secured the victory following a spinning sidewalk slam. Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods of the New Day quickly joined the ring to celebrate with Jones, only to have their celebrations spoiled by the final testament. Cross took to the microphone and attempted to sow more seeds of doubt among the ongoing suspicions of a New Day implosion. Quote, Kofi Kingston is using Odyssey Jones to replace Big E, Cross accused. No, Woods, you see the truth. The truth is Kofi using Odyssey to replace you. Woods began to respond, but was succinctly cut off by Kingston, who proposed a six-man tag team match. Cross accepted, and the final testament is expected to go up against the New Day and Odyssey Jones on the August 19 episode of Raw. Now, Big E has yet to respond to Cross's comments. However, the former New Day member did take to social media during Jones' debut last week to express his support for the Raw superstar. It's currently unclear whether Big E will return to WWE programming to contribute to this storyline, as he's currently still not cleared to compete after breaking his neck over 2 years ago. Now, Bo Dallas, he has reflected on the Wyatt Sicks in-ring debut last week on Monday Night Raw. Another VHS tape aired on last night's Raw with Bo Dallas addressing the debut of the Wyatt Sicks in last week's Raw main event. Bo Dallas spoke about the Wyatt Sicks debut in Baltimore, saying that something big is happening, as he noted that he felt he was there with an image being of Bray Wyatt being shown. A disembodied voice would seemingly inform of the 2 points. Other doors shall be opened and the work must continue. The vignette would end with Dallas being shown repeating the phrase, my life for you. Now, it may not be the last we see of the Wyatt Sicks, of course. They have been floating around, certainly. In addition to that, there was some suggestion that possibly they hijacked Pat McAfee show again yesterday. Wait and see indeed how that one plays out. Now, we got the ratings for AEW Rampage last Friday. It is some positive news for All Elite Wrestling when it comes to their Friday night show. The Friday, August 9th episode of AEW Rampage averaged 219,000 viewers on TNT, which is up 4.8% from the previous week. It's still the second lowest audience total in the history of the show, beating only last week's episode, which was a record low for AEW. Rampage drew a 0.09 rating in the 1849 demo, up 28.6% from last week. This ties the fifth lowest rating Rampage has done in 2024. Now, the show went head-to-head with the Olympic coverage on USA Network, NBC and Peacock, as well as preseason football on the NFL Network. The 2024 Olympics are now over, with the event ending this past weekend. As compared to the same week in 2023, Rampage's overall viewership was down 45%, while its 18-49 rating was down 40%. So still certainly a lot of work to do when it comes to Rampage on Friday nights. Now, we also have the ratings for SmackDown on Friday. Of course, this marked the return of Roman Reigns to Friday Night SmackDown for the first time since WrestleMania. Friday night's WWE SmackDown episode averaged 2.269 million viewers on Fox, up 4.1% from the previous week. It's the largest audience total for the show since July 19. In the 1849 demo, SmackDown drew a 0.64 rating. That's up 6.7% from last week. It's also the best rating the show has done since the July 19 episode. It beat everything else on television with the exception of the Olympics, which ran head-to-head. In some markets, SmackDown did not air in its normal time slot due to the first week of the NFL preseason. So that's something also worth remembering and considering. In terms of the compared to the same week in 2023, against lesser competition, the show was up 8.2% in overall viewers and up 16.4% in the 1849 demographic. This was the SummerSlam Fallout edition of SmackDown. The show featured an appearance from Roman Reigns following his return at the PLE. And finally, a bit of an update when it comes to Tay Melo and her return to AEW television. So far throughout 2024, AEW has done plenty to help bolster their women's division, which in the past have been a sore spot for the promotion. A big help has been the acquisition of talent with names like Jonna Purrazzo, Camille, and current AEW TBS champion Mercedes Moné, all joining the fold in the past 8 months. And while AEW continues to wait for the return of Jamie Hayter, who has missed the last year recovering from injury, it appears they'll be getting another name who has missed a significant amount of time back shortly. PW Insider reports that word backstage at AEW Collision this past weekend indicated that Tay Melo will soon be returning to the promotion. Soon could mean this Wednesday at Dynamite in Norfolk, Virginia, as some believe Melo will be present at the episode. It wasn't specified whether Melo would be wrestling on the show, would be involved in an angle, or would simply be there backstage in preparation for her return. Joining AEW in September 2020 after being released from WWE earlier that year, Melo quickly worked her way up AEW's division, earning shots at the AEW Women's and TBS Championships against Hikaru Shida, Britt Baker, Jade Cargill, respectively, while also forming a tag team with Anna Jay. She would put her career on hold last year when she and husband, fellow AEW star Sammy Guevara, announced at Double or Nothing they were expecting their first child. Melo would give birth to her and Guevara's daughter, Luna, this past November, and later appeared on camera with her daughter to cheer on Guevara during a match. Guevara, who himself returned to in-ring competition in Ring of Honor, has noted on social media that Melo had been training for her return alongside him. But there you go, guys. The latest pro wrestling news for you. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe bottom right hand corner. As always, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon. Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.